I'm sitting in the middle of the desert in Moab, Utah. I've been here for a week, and this week I've been more afraid than I have been in a very long time. I'm 65 years old. I'm training for Ironman Texas. I'm not someone who scares easily, and yet mountain biking on Moab terrain and rock climbing out here have had me genuinely scared multiple times in ways that surprised me. And what surprised me even more was what that fear cost me. Not in falls, I didn't fall that much, but in energy, in mental exhaustion, in the completely spent feeling I had at the end of my first rides that had almost nothing to do with physical effort. This week I learned something about fear that I think applies to almost everything hard. And I want to share it with you because whether your fear is mountain biking in Moab or starting a fitness program at 55 or signing up for a race that you're not sure you can finish, the mechanics are the same, and so is the way through. Here's the first thing I want you to understand about fear. It costs you. Not in the dramatic way, not just when something goes wrong or when you fall or fail. It costs you in the ordinary moments of just being afraid. The mental load of fear is real and it's heavy. After my first mountain bike ride here in Moab, I was completely spent. Not in my legs. My legs train for Ironman, but in my whole system. I was emotionally and mentally exhausted in a way that felt completely disproportionate to what I'd actually done physically. And then I remembered something. The brain is the body's biggest energy consumer. Mental load, real cognitive and emotional effort, burns calories. And fear is one of the most metabolically expensive mental states there is because your entire nervous system is activated. Your body thinks it's protecting you from something life-threatening. It's running on full alert. We are hardwired to conserve energy. That's survival biology, and fear triggers a level of energy expenditure that your body doesn't sustain easily, which is why you feel so drained afterward, even when nothing physically demanding happened. I'm normally a calm person. I've done hard physical things for a long time, but that self-preservation instinct is ancient and it does not care about your training history. It just responds. Here's why this matters for you. If you've ever started something new, a workout program, a fitness class, a race, and felt inexplicably exhausted even though the effort didn't seem that hard, it might not be your fitness, it might be the fear. And that changes what you do about it. So if fear is this expensive, what do you do about it? Here's what I learned this week, and it's not what I expected. The answer isn't courage. It isn't white knuckling your way through. It isn't telling yourself to be braver or tougher or less afraid. The answer is repetition in a contained environment at a scale you can manage. A couple days ago, my husband Paul took me to a place where I could practice the same drops over and over again on my mountain bike. Not impressive drops, not scary drops, just the same thing again and again in a low stakes setting where nothing bad was going to happen. I wasn't doing it perfectly, I wasn't doing it elegantly, but I was doing it repeatedly, and something shifted. Not all at once, incrementally. Each repetition was slightly less frightening than the last. And by the end, what had felt genuinely scary at the beginning felt manageable. That's what repetition does. It gives your nervous system evidence, not proof that you're safe. Your nervous system doesn't work on logic, but exposure, familiarity, the gradual accumulation of, I've done this before and nothing terrible happened. That's what starts to quiet the alarm. Think about what that looks like in your own life. The first time you tried something new at the gym, it was probably exhausting in ways that had nothing to do with the workout. The 10th time, completely different. Not because the workout got easier, because your nervous system stopped treating it as a threat. But there's a third piece to this, and it's the one that surprised me most about my own fear this week. Before I get to that third piece, if what I'm describing sounds familiar, the 3-day expansion quick start in the description is built around exactly this kind of incremental, low stakes, evidence building process. Free, 3 days, 10 minutes a day. The link is in the description. Grab it and let's keep going. Here's the piece that surprised me most. When we went back to that trail today, the one that had left me completely spent earlier in the week, I still had to walk in some places, but I was far more relaxed, far more present, and something became available to me that hadn't been available before. I could actually think. I could think about my technique, let go of the brakes, stand up a little higher on the pedals, shift my weight toward the back of the bike. These are things I had been told, I knew them, but earlier in the week, when I was afraid, I couldn't access them. The information was there, I just couldn't reach it through the fear. Today, when the fear had quieted enough to let me think, I could feel the difference those adjustments made. In real time, the bike responded differently. My body responded differently, and I understood something I'd only been told before. Fear doesn't just exhaust you, it occupies the mental bandwidth you need to learn. When you're in full survival mode, your brain is not available for skill development. It's available for getting out alive. That's it. This is why struggling with something new doesn't mean you can't do it. It might just mean that fear is using the mental space where your technique should be living. And the solution isn't to try harder, it's to reduce the fear enough to free up the bandwidth. For me, this week, that meant practice repetitions in a contained space first, knowing what to expect before I encountered it on the trail, going back to the same terrain a second time so it wasn't unfamiliar. None of those things are heroic, all of them worked. I want to bring this back to you because you might not be mountain biking in Moab, but I'd be willing to bet you have something in your life that fear is making more expensive than it needs to be. Maybe it's showing up to a new fitness class and feeling like everyone is watching. Maybe it's signing up for a race you're not sure you can finish. Maybe it's starting a strength program when you haven't lifted in years. And maybe it's just beginning again after a long time away. The fear mechanics are the same. The drain is the same, and the path through is the same. Start in a contained environment. Find the smallest, lowest stakes version of the thing that scares you and do it repeatedly. Not once, heroically, but repeatedly, unglamorously. Let your nervous system accumulate evidence. Know what to expect before you encounter it. Preparation isn't weakness, it's how you reduce the fear tax before you even begin. And then go back. The second time you do something scary is never as hard as the first. Not because you've mastered it, because it's no longer unknown. And unknown is most of what fear actually is. I ended today's ride tired, genuinely physically tired. My muscles are built for endurance, not the explosive power that mountain biking demands. And I felt that, but it was a good tired. A progress tired, not the hollow, spent feeling of my first ride. And I loved that. I love seeing incremental progress in myself. I love the moment when something that scared me becomes something I can do. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, but competently. That's one of the reasons I keep doing hard things. The progress is the point. I'm 65 years old and I'm learning to mountain bike in Moab, and I'm on my way to Ironman, Texas. And I'm not shrinking. I'm not telling myself this is too much or too late or too scary. I'm doing it scared in the desert, one trail at a time. And if you're sitting with something that's scaring you right now, something you've been telling yourself is too much or too late or too hard, I want you to hear this. The fear is real. The drain is real, and the way through is not to wait until you're not afraid. It's to start small enough that the fear doesn't win, and then go back. Ordinary days build extraordinary lives, even the ones where you're scared, especially those. If you're ready to start building that evidence, one small, repeatable, low stakes promise at a time, the 3-day expansion quick start is free and it's in the description. 3 days, 10 minutes a day, that's your contained environment. That's where the evidence starts. And comment expand below and tell me, what's the one thing fear has been making more expensive for you than it needs to be? I'm reading every comment from the desert, and I'll see you in the next video.